Please let me in.
The world ended. Didn't you get the memo?
You said it.
Come on, guys, let's go for a slice of pizza.
Yeah.
So fetch. What is fetch?
Oh, it's like slang from England.
I'm Charlotte Blackwood.
I'm Maverick.
Maverick? Does your mother not like you or something?
Chunk is dead. Don't say that. Never say that. Goonies never say die.
Absolutely love having our next guest on. He is American Experiment's president, John Hinderaker. John, how you doing today, sir?
Doing just great, Al.
I think I might have offended you in the green room before we went on. When I mentioned how nice you look with your suit on today.
I used to say, I was a trial lawyer for many years, and I used to say, I'm a very hard guy to offend. In fact, I'm not sure it's even possible.
Well, because I mentioned said how nice you look with a suit on. I don't get that every week, and say I have a suit on every time I'm on. I think you generally don't have the jacket on. So I just see the shirt tie, and I'm thinking you dolled it up. I didn't mean to offend. I mean, you look like $1 million bucks.
You're probably right about that. The minute we're done here, I'm going to dash to my car and run to a breakfast meeting. So I'm all ready to go.
All right. Well, thank you. Anyway, I didn't mean to offend. I'm like, no, he always looks nice. It's a jacket. Real quick, couple of things. You travel a ton. I mean, as much as anybody travels, that I know. The government shutdown is over. Last night, Donald Trump signed the bill. There's some things we can obviously talk about in it. But in your line of work, how bad did the travel get? I barely ever go on a plane. It made no never mind to me, and they say it could be weeks to get back. Did you notice? How bad was it out there?
Well, I'll tell you, I didn't fly during the 6 weeks. I flew right before the shutdown.
Okay.
And I'm getting on an airplane. My wife and I are getting on an airplane on Sunday to fly to Amsterdam right after the shutdown. But I missed the shutdown. I'm told one of my sons-in-law is a Delta pilot.
Okay.
And I understand from him that the mess was not as bad at the Minneapolis-St. Paul airport as it was at some other airports. You heard a lot of stories about airplanes sitting for hours, on the runway, about flights being canceled and so on. I just hope that they are enticing those air traffic controllers back to work right now so that we don't have any trouble getting out of the country on Sunday.
What I get out of that, it isn't an air traffic controller problem. They go back, they're going to get paid, they're going to get their back pay. It's getting the planes in the right spot. Evidently, this whole thing worries about this plane being here by the end of the day and going to the next plane. When you cancel them, you get out of sorts. I don't know if they just got pilots jumping in planes and flying them where they got to be. I don't know how all that works. But let me ask you this, because I kind of self-explanatory. Whenever these things happen, the shutdown, each side is going to blame the other side. You see that coming. And then each side, when it's over, will take the victory lap. This isn't how it worked this time. The Democrats said this was a Republican shutdown. Okay, you get their point. But when 8 Democrats then vote to kickstart it again, they didn't blame the Trump. They blamed their own people, saying they tried to have both sides of the argument, and I think people caught it. Wait a minute, the Republicans voted the same way every single time. It was the 8 Democrats that turned this thing back on. Do you think regular Americans are catching that?
Well, one would certainly hope so. This was obviously a Democratic Party shutdown. They filibustered the spending bill. There's no mystery. It passed the Republican House. Every Republican in the Senate voted for it, and it would have passed, but it got filibustered by the Democrats. So this is not one where it's hard to assign responsibility. Yeah. I saw one poll relatively early in the shutdown where 51% of Democrats said that they wanted the shutdown to continue.
That's something.
So they knew that it was their party that was doing the shutdown. They liked the shutdown, and they were willing to tell pollsters, no, this is good. We want the shutdown to continue. And as we all saw when the Democrats in the Senate decided it was time to end the shutdown, and they asked for 8 volunteers to cross over to end the filibuster, a lot of Democrats were mad. Apparently, they wanted to keep the filibuster going forever.
Yeah. And interesting, the 8 are all in these seats where they could have got in trouble if they stuck with this too long. They let them off the hook. Okay, want to move over because this is I don't know who does this for you. And maybe you don't know the name. You're Thinking Minnesota magazine. The latest one comes out. It's got Paul Bunyan and the Babe the Blue Ox, some cat. I don't know who drew that for you guys. That's epic. That is such a great drawing, and it tells you basically what you're talking about is Minnesota, the most corrupt state. I love this magazine cover. You do some good ones. but this one rocks.
Al, I think the last three magazine covers have been fantastic. And I think this one, this the latest one that's got Paul Bunyan with a tear rolling down his face, I think, and the axe you can see, and you can see the blue ox, and it's about fraud, and there's dollar bills being stuffed in there. I agree with you. I think it's the greatest cover we've ever had, and we've got a graphic artist working for us named Scott Bushacker. And
Okay.
he does a fantastic job. He does a lot of things besides the magazine. He does a lot of our other stuff as well. But his contribution to the magazine is really what makes it such a sharp publication.
I don't tell you how to run your business. I just throw out examples. You got to get that guy to release that print so that you can put it up for auction. Because don't tell me, and I know you do, and I've never been to your office. You must have the originals of those all framed in your office, because that doesn't work.
You got to stop by our
Yeah.
office, Al. We do. You got 30 or 40 of them on the walls. Yeah.
But you should be putting that up for bid at auction and next thing. I'd love a copy of that. I don't care if it's the 500 signed copy. That is just some cool art about Minnesota. And the magazine obviously is fantastic. We've talked about it before. Minnesota is the most corrupt state. That's the question. You answer that in the magazine, correct? If I want to get the magazine, I will find out if we are the most corrupt state.
Well, it's probably a debatable point. I mean, some people would say, hey, don't forget Louisiana or New Jersey or, maybe Nevada. But I'll tell you this, we are the only state that is so corrupt that billions of dollars are flowing out of the treasury, not in wasteful spending. That number would be way bigger. I don't know what that is. It's huge. But I'm not talking about waste, talking about actual criminal fraud, criminally stealing from the taxpayers. There's no other state that is so corrupt that billions of dollars in theft are going on at the state government level.
Yeah, and not even with any effort. I mean, we don't make anybody do anything. You don't have to. You don't break a sweat to steal from us. It's really quite easy. You just go make up a name, send in invoices.
Apparently, all you have to do is draw up an invoice and send it to a state agency, and they'll say, "Oh, here's someone who would like some money," and they'll send you a check. I mean, as best I can tell, that's how it works.
How does it work to get the magazine, Thinking Minnesota? I mean, this is a great publication.
Well, you go online at americanexperiment.org. There's a tab across the top. There's a bunch of tabs. One of them says magazine. If you click there, you can actually read back issues of the magazine electronically. You also can subscribe. To get the magazine, you have to be a sustaining member of the organization. And to be a sustaining member of the organization, you got to contribute $35 or more. And so we've got thousands and thousands of sustaining members.
I have another brilliant idea. God, I got to stop my mind's flying. Every month, every time you put out a new Thank You Minnesota, you put out what they call them a thumbnail of that photo, so I can make it my picture on my Facebook or on my whatever, and maybe you charge $1 for it or something. That is such a Minnesota fabulous photo. Got to go to break. There's another thing going on with you guys, and I don't want to take away from Thinking Minnesota because I do love this, but it might be my favorite thing you guys do all year long. And we're dogging the golden turkey. We're talking about it with John Hinderaker right after this.
Think about it. Now that school's back in session, how are Minnesota students doing? Not very well. Minnesota ACT scores fell again last year and are the lowest they've been in 10 years. In fact, fewer than half of Minnesota students can either read or do math at grade level. Think about it. We used to brag about our schools. Now we're losing to states like Mississippi. Visit americanexperiment.org for more information. Think About It is brought to you by Center of the American Experiment, Minnesota's think tank.
When the stakes are high at the Minnesota Capitol, you need more than a lobbyist. You need a partner. At Momentum Advocacy, we bring nearly 90 years of combined experience in government relations, public affairs, and strategic communications. From nonprofits to national corporations, we help organizations navigate Minnesota's political landscape with integrity, insight, and results. Whether you need legislative champions or headlines, Momentum Advocacy delivers. For more, visit momentum-advocacy.com. Momentum Advocacy, your friends at the Capitol.
It's nice to know a guy that knows a guy. Al Travis.
We've got him, John Hinderaker, with the president of the American Experiment, and it is that time of year again, my favorite time of year. It's Golden Turkey Awards time. This is the funnest thing you're going to do with all the problems we've got in Minnesota. You go to AmericanExperiment.org, take action. You'll see the button, hit your vote for the Golden Turkey Award, and John and I will describe what's going on. I'm going to have John. John, since you were on last week, I went through all the stories, and they give you the entire read-up on how these things came about. This Rum River surfing thing is like such a backhanded, weird crap. That return on investment even talks about that. They have no idea unless there's this hidden Minnesota surfing community no one knows about. How can this even be for real?
This is so crazy that Anoka actually sued to block it, calling it a boondoggle. and it's a $51 million project. And what they do is they do it in stages. So first, a couple $100,000 just to study it. Just do a study. Well, then the study recommends, whatever. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we should do this. And then the first phase is a pedestrian bridge. Oh, we'll build a pedestrian bridge, But what this whole thing is intended to become is a surfer's paradise in Anoka, Minnesota, on the Rum River. Do people surf on rivers, Al? Am I the only one that...
Nowhere else in the world. Yeah. But beyond that, John, I think it was $500,000, if I remember, a $500,000 study about surfing in Anoka on the river.
Yeah.
Whoever said, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Can we just have a $500,000 study on Al in his office to see if it could be more ergonomically correct? I mean, what?
People who do studies for a living will do a study on anything. And if you pay them $500,000, they'll do a study that says surfing on the Rum River is a great idea. Right. Now, the season is a little short. Most places where people surf are places where the water doesn't freeze for 6 months. Anyway, $51 million to build a surfer's paradise on the Rum River is one of our nominees for the Golden Turkey.
We should mention this is not about cost alone. People get a little lost on the cost. Okay, that's $51 million, which is a nut job. But I'll tell you what, the $1 million Bloomington City Hall bathroom, you have a photo of it, John, on here. There's a photo. This looks like laminate.
Crew went to the bathroom and took a picture inside the bathroom so that voters could see what a $1 million bathroom looks like. And by the way, our listeners might ask ourselves, did your house cost $1 million? Mine didn't.
No.
So this is a bathroom at the City Hall in Bloomington that cost more than your house, probably by a pretty good margin.
How busy is the City Hall in Bloomington? I counted it looked like 21 stalls, in, the Quick Trip where I go, and they got people constantly. I think it has 2 stalls.
Yeah, right, exactly. You'd have to be having a big convention at the Bloomington City Hall. This bathroom is like 50 yards deep, And so it's got all these stalls that are unisex. It's a unisex bathroom. That's the current trend, so used by both men and women. There's like 21 individual stalls, and they have lights, like the parking ramp at the Mega Mall. They have lights that are either green or red to show you whether a particular stall is occupied or not. And then if you go, I think it's all the way down, you got to go about 50 yards, all the way down to the end of this bathroom. There is a door to the urinal room. There's also a urinal room, and that door is electronically operated and touchless and so on. This is a very high technology, $1 million.
It's funny you bring up that lighting thing because, if you're just going to use a biffy, one of those plastic biffies at the ballgame, literally the handle, when you close it on the other side, it says busy or not busy. It's really not that complicated.
No, the porta potties, it probably cost about $2, for the little handle that's green, and then when you turn it, you can see red.
So, you got to go on AmericanExperiment.org just to look at $1 million bathroom, which I thought gold, this and that. It literally looks like if you've ever been to a really fancy place where they bring in one of the fancy porta potties, it looks like that. It just looked like one of the fancier porta potties you'd ever go to. Anyway.
And by the way, this is COVID money. The federal government sent COVID money to all the cities, and they had to scratch their heads and try to figure out what in the world to do with it. Well, this is the kind of thing they came up with.
Yeah, okay, brilliant. Now, this next one, again, is not about the money, about the, you got to decide what trips your trigger. Tim Walz bills us $430,000 to have some lawyer folks prep him to go talk to Congress. Now, if I'm going to throw this out here, I think he was in Congress for 12 years, knew the process. He has lawyers on staff with him, but he charged us $430,000.
Yeah, he went to an outside law firm. He was called to testify about Minnesota's sanctuary policies, sanctuary city policies, something he presumably knows about. In other words, he was going to be testifying on his state's policies. He's the governor. He was going to be doing it in Congress, where he served for 12 years on the other side of the, he was one of the congressmen, not one of the witnesses. And he has the entire attorney general's office, I suppose, at his disposal if he thinks he needs legal advice. That's what it's there for. But no, he went to an outside law firm and paid $800 an hour to get lawyers who are not from Minnesota to give him advice on his appearance before this House committee. And all told, they ran up a $430,000 legal bill, meeting with Tim Walz and advising him about how to testify in Congress. And their bill, they had to send their bill in to get paid, and that bill is a public document. You can look at it. I've looked. I was a lawyer, for 41 years. I have sent a lot of legal bills. I know what they look like. And it's just very entertaining to see the details of how Tim Walz racked up a $430,000 legal bill.
All right, and the last one, because I got to get it out so we're fair to everybody. The Gold Line, an empty bus terminal for $500 million or something.
$500 million for a special bus line, Gold Line, for a 10-mile stretch that is adjacent to Highway 94. Every year, Al, it seems like there is a transit project that is nominated for the Golden Turkey. A couple of times, transit projects have won. Like, remember the bus stop where no buses stop?
Yeah.
That was a winner a few years ago. Well, the Gold Line, I think, got more nominations than anything else. It is a $500 million bus line, and no one is riding it. I mean, no one is riding this bus line.
And this is the stuff you got to go, and it's worth the read. It's worth the looking. You got to take a look at those bathrooms. Go to AmericanExperiment.org, hit the Take Action button. You'll see the Golden Turkey Award. Hit that and read these four, and you got to vote, because this is crazy. And then you have the Hall of Fame, some of the ones that came up before. These stories are amazing, John. I find it interesting that they come from the people, hey, nominate, and this is the stuff they're finding. This is amazing. I appreciate you coming on, and I love the Golden Turkeys. It's my favorite time of year.
There actually is a Golden Turkey. Somebody made a trophy for us based on the caricature that we use on the website, and that physical trophy actually gets presented.
I love that. John, appreciate you being here. We'll do it again next week. Fair enough?
Thanks, Al.
John Hinderaker, American Experiment.
Think about it. A famous politician once said, "You're entitled to your opinion, but you are not entitled to your